How's it going, everyone? Welcome to another video. Over the past week, I reached out to some of the biggest and best content creators the world had to offer, and asked them two important questions: what their favorite memory was from their time on Aeternum, and what their favorite video they made covering New World is. So, in today's video, we're going to be listening to what they had to say and thinking back on some of our favorite memories of Aeternum. But first, please consider giving the video a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps out massively. Now, let's get into it. I'd like to start by thanking you all for your comments, giving me suggestions on who to reach out to, as I know I would have forgotten some amazing people. I tried my hardest to reach out to as many of your suggestions as I could, but I couldn't get everyone. Some people I couldn't find the contact info for, others didn't respond, or were simply too busy, which is completely understandable. If I didn't reach out to you, I do apologize, and for anyone who was too busy, no hard feelings. But I did manage to get 11 amazing creators to answer these questions for you in this video, and they are Baggins, DukeSloth, Mecrow, JayOddity, Goddess, Nyce, Savvvo, Rozi, Danny, ThaCousin, and Master VAVI. They're all incredible at what they do, and their socials will be linked in the video description, so make sure to go over and give them all some love in these difficult times. Also, before we say anything in the comments, the footage recorded of everyone's platforms and their videos mentioned in responses was recorded in an in-private browser while signed out, so that's why it looks like I didn't like any of their videos or that I'm not subscribed to any of their channels. But without further ado, let's dive in, starting with the first question. What was your favorite memory from your time on Aeternum? Starting with Baggins TV.
From my many years playing New World Aeternum, I think my favorite memory is probably when they added the Brimstone Sands region. Leading up to that point, we'd obviously had a lot of shaky problems and decreasing player count and stuff, so to see them come out with such a huge update, adding a massive new zone, with all the new content, the heart runes, what later went on to be the sandworm, the hatchery, the Ennead, really cool dungeon. Just the vibes for the zone, the first time you walk in and you see the big sandworm just pop out of the sand and then land again, it just is a really cool experience. And it's like the first time that we saw them add like a big update to the game and give me an idea like, okay, they can actually, you know, they can cook, they can make stuff for this game.
That truly was a special time in New World. Brimstone Sands will forever be one of my favorite zones I ever experienced in gaming. Now, let's hear from DukeSloth.
Ahoy! My favorite memory would definitely be the early days of PvP. This includes early open world PvP with my company when we claimed Winswood as the first company, and after that all the fights broke out, the early wars and everything surrounding that. It was just such a good time because so many players were active, everyone kind of knew each other as well. No one really knew how the game worked yet, and many more annoying mechanics that came in later weren't really figured out, like people weren't really earning hardy yet and things like that, which I thought made the combat a lot more skill-based and interesting, and I really enjoyed that in combination with playing together with so many like-minded people, having so much fun together, and especially my company. Shout out to EP, they were the ones that really brought this all together for me. So I really loved that part, even though when I'm looking back at it, and I would say now, the PvP, for example, is a lot more polished, the combat is in many ways better now, but still the memory of that time and the nostalgia that comes with it, I don't think will ever be beat.
I didn't have a gaming PC back then, so I missed those early days, but I did watch a lot of videos, and it did look like a wild time. From the insane bugs, to the craziness of learning a new game, to 1 million players running around the world. I bet it was an amazing time to be washing up on the beaches of Aeternum. Next, we'll be hearing from Rozi.
Hey guys, my name is Rozi. I mainly streamed New World and I also made some content on YouTube. I was a PvP player and I played bow, rapier, or with spear. And Noob asked me what my favorite memory is of New World. And I had to think for a second, because I have so many memories, of course, so many good memories. The first memory that came to mind is when I was in First Light and there were, I don't know how many people, but I would say 800 people from every faction. Everyone had their PvP turned on and everyone was just fighting each other at the First Light Fort. And that was amazing. You could just feel the rivalry between each other, but also like this community feeling as well at the same time. Something that rarely happened, of like so many people at the same spot and fighting each other. It just felt amazing. I have many more memories of open world PvP that I loved, but that was definitely one of my favorites because there were just so many people that I've never seen before and also never after that event. And I think that was during the time where Bari was still a thing, or it was on Orofina, but I think it was on Bari. So that was my favorite memory of New World.
I'm sure we all have magical memories of our first time open world PvPing in New World. It truly was something special. After that, let's hear from Mecrow.
It, by a mile, is a war-related one. There was a time where, so Dropouts versus Supple was content in terms of the war community that went on for probably 3 years, maybe 3 to 4 years. It was a very long time in terms of New World. There was a period of time during that where Dropouts lost to Supple for almost 9 months straight. Just not winning any single time. Like, we'd get to Fort 1 war and then we get 2-point health the next. It was terrible. And during that downtime, like when everyone was feeling really, really low, UU got a little bit cocky. They transferred over to the US servers and they decided to war Dropouts, and, you know, like, basically the best company on EU could see if they can crush Dropouts on ping. And what happened when that occurred was there was a point where, I mean, first off, EU was not getting even close. Like, Dropouts is 2-point holding EU. Like, just an embarrassment considering how bad we were at the time. But during the middle of this war, there was a point where I would argue Dropouts had the better point team at the time. We had a really good point team even compared to Supple. Like, it was like on par, if not, I would argue better, but I'm biased. And we just completely wiped the floor versus EU, and they had to do like a full reset. So it's like, it's something that's like basically unheard of in higher end wars, where you just see an entire company just get deleted off the point. But this was like a solid like 10 to 15 man just nukage of the entire point, and it was like one of those moments where it's like you've been losing for so long and then you do something and it works really, really well, and it was like, oh my gosh, we still got it. Like, it gave us all like so much hope, and it was so fun at the time, especially because like we're, you know, I was not being a meta slave at the time. Like, we're being a little creative in terms of the builds. Like, I think I got SNS Greatsword on at the time, which hasn't been, like, it got used at the end of New World's life cycle for different reasons, but like this is like a build that like only I played at the time, and it was just like super, super uncommon, but had like a lot of potential and had a lot of extra utility. It was just like really, really fun to like try something that was not popular, have a lot of success with it, and just kind of bring that to a new light and highlight that to people all over the world. And that's something I don't think we'll ever really get to see again.
No surprise it was war-related from Mecrow. Although I never got into the war scene, I know that must have been an exhilarating experience, coming together and succeeding with your company mates. Now, we'll be hearing from JayOddity.
If I'm honest, actually on Aeternum, not really that relevant for me. It's more about the hype moments. So I think my favorite times, you know, like before we got Rise of the Angry Earth, before we got Aeternum, kind of, maybe, not really. And then more recently, before we got Nighthaven, and we're all on stream and we're waiting for that moment, and we get in, and there's mystery and there's intrigue, and it's just simply beautiful. Those are the times that I'll probably remember the most, if that makes sense. I mean, more recently, I was just thinking, I did an Outpost Rush off stream, and I actually got to like really try at the game for a brief moment, and I really enjoyed it, and it kind of made me realize what we're going to be missing. But I also think back to just hemp farming in Windswood. The Windswood hemp area with the bison where the hermit used to be, that to me is New World. That area right there is New World. And it might be my favorite area as well, actually. Yeah, that.
I too will miss those days, living in the hype cycle and taking my daily dose of copium. And he's not wrong about Windswood hemp farming. It's something to behold. Next up is Goddess009.
Hi, my name's Goddess. I started playing New World Aeternum about a month after launch. I started streaming New World Aeternum about the beginning of 2023. My favorite memory about New World Aeternum would have to be the day that I met my best friend. My company members and I were running Sirens, and Yennefer, my best friend's company, was outside of Sirens' doors waiting for their turn to run. One of my company members came up to me and told me that he knew Yennefer and that Yennefer was his girlfriend. I told him that he was lying to me because he likes to mess with me a lot, and I also said that that's probably a guy, that most girls in New World are actually guys. He insisted that he knew her, so I ended up messaging one of her company members who were sitting outside of Siren and asked if Yennefer was a guy or a girl. He insisted that she was really a girl, and honestly I got kind of excited because there's been only a handful of females that I've ever met in New World at that time, so meeting another girl was kind of exciting. So this is my favorite memory because if it wasn't for New World Aeternum, I would have never met my best friend, and I would have never met any of the great people that I have met throughout the years.
Such a heartwarming story. I'm sure we can all relate. I too met some friends I will remember forever on Aeternum. After that, we'll be hearing from Savvvo Games.
I honestly have so many good memories when it comes to playing New World Aeternum, but honestly, one of them that just keeps popping up is one of the best memories was probably like the first few days of the official launch of New World. I mean, we had like almost 1 million players. The beaches were flooded. The queues were lengthy for sure, but if you actually got online and started playing and running around, everyone was basically in the same boat. It was just everything was fresh, everyone was exploring, and everyone was learning together. That's probably my favorite memory. And every time there was an expansion, I just loved how the community kind of worked together to learn about all of the new special tips and tricks and what works best doing this or what's best in this expedition and things like that. So really kind of exploring the new content as a community, I think is probably my ongoing favorite memory, especially with those first few days just being so eye-opening and knowing, after taking those first few steps on the beach, like, yeah, this is my game. I'm gonna like this one.
Similar to Duke and Jay, in loving the early days and the hype cycles that come with the expansions, truly some wonderful times to be alive on Aeternum. Now, let's hear from DannehTV.
So some of my favourite memories from New World, and this is a bit of a cop-out answer to be honest, is there is just too many. Some of the key ones that kind of come to mind are playing in the alpha, playing in the beta, playing in the preview week, if you remember the preview week. Then of course then rolling that into launch, and I was quite PvP orientated. Although I enjoyed the PvE, PvP is kind of what really got me excited. So fighting for the first ever fall, I was invited to a 3v3 with the devs in some of the first arena matches. That was with Baggins actually, that was amazing. And then things like I got invited to join Asmongold, Shroud, and one of the devs as well, to play in one of the first expeditions. It wasn't one of the first ones, sorry, it was one of the ones that got released. We were one of the first to run it through. And it was things like that, and then all the people, so like all the wars and all the knights practicing with each other, and there's not really like a key moment. And if I was to pick one, we were with about probably 80 people in Mirkgard, and we were against another big group, and I hid 80 people behind a little tower, and then we ambushed them on a chest, and we had some really fun, amazing rivalries, to be honest. But yeah, there's no core memory. There's just many memories when you think of New World. It's just there's many.
Another lover of the early days on Aeternum. I'm sure a lot of these creators came head to head on the battlefield more than a couple of times back in those days, trying to be the first explorers to conquer the island. Next up, we've got Nyce Gaming.
I never got to play New World at launch, and I started with the Brimstone Sands expansion, and however, I'll never forget my first time washing up on the shore of Aeternum, and I'll never forget the friends I've made, the times I've had, and even more so, what all Season 10 specifically brought us and the hope that it gave us. Seeing a queue on New World again was something that was perhaps frustrating at the moment, but it made you smile, it made you happy, it let you know that we were so back. Maybe it's good that the shutdown news didn't come last year when morale was at its all-time lowest. Maybe the news coming now, maybe remembering this MMO as it is right now, arguably at its peak, will make up for everything, and it will make for the most fond memories when we look back at Aeternum one day. Just wondering, what if?
Well said. I'm sure many of us will forever remember our first time washing up on these shores, whether with the revamped MSQ or the old, not-so-polished story. After that, we'll be hearing from Master VAVI.
What up, what up? This is Master VAVI, guys, and the question is really simple. What was my favorite moment in New World? I'm gonna say straight up, I was being kind of jumped around in the server Valhalla by a lot of players, and I decided to join a company. At the time, it was 5-stack, and it was a green company. I was still a solo player, playing by myself for most of the time, and I was getting jumped by every company. I was green, but I was getting jumped by everyone, outnumbered all the time. So for me, a really important moment was when I joined this company, and there was this day that I was being chased in open world. You guys know those races are always like a great time, but out of nowhere, this massive wave of this new company that I just joined, I just made a bunch of new friends, massive wave of players just hear me out, and I say on Discord, hey man, I really need some help, and everyone just comes in running, flagged up, and as soon as they see this wave of greens coming at them, it was brutal. It was insane. I had so much fun, and that was a really special moment for me, seeing that gang of greens come back, fight back, push back the oppression, you know. So that was a really important moment for me, for sure.
Nothing like a good wave of reinforcements when you're outnumbered out in the open world. I'm sure a lot of us will have similar memories from former companies we've been a part of. And last but not least, we've got the off-meta chef himself, ThaCousin.
My favorite memory? I've got many, but if I had to pick one, it'd be the Monarch's Bluffs Castle Battle. That event was incredible, back when I played on the Australian server. It was a community event between a few companies from all 3 factions, and it turned into absolute chaos in the best possible way. One team defended, one attacked, and a third faction secretly flanked from a hidden entrance to help the attackers. The castle was huge, the fights were intense, and that choke at the main gate? One bomb could wipe 30 people in seconds. It showed how much fun and potential the game already had, even without new maps. I actually wanted to recreate that event later in Nyce, EU, maybe after Season 10, when everyone had some gear and felt ready for action. Maybe it can still happen one day. It's guaranteed fun.
I think I remember seeing footage of that back in the day. It's amazing how much fun the community can make for itself, even without expansions. But now, let's move on to the next and final question. What's your favorite video you've made about New World? And don't forget, if you'd like to check out any of the videos mentioned, they'll be linked in the video description as well as shown on screen. Now, let's get on to the answers. Starting with Baggins TV.
One of the favorite videos I've made on New World would probably be the video where I talk about what to do at max level. One, I think it was a very useful video. We had a lot of people coming back to the game, and you follow through the storyline. When you hit the max level, you just get a little bit stumped. You're like, okay, now what? You know, it's just do quest, hand in, do quest, hand in, and then suddenly the game is like, now you figure out what you've got to do. But for me, it was also special because as I was making the video, I was realizing, man, there's quite a lot of stuff to do, actually. If we're going to talk about housing, we're going to talk about gems, we're going to talk about mutated dungeons, PvP, there's Outpost Rush, there's 3v3 Arena, there's the rewards track, there's leveling up your crafting, there's getting your trophies, there's leveling up your faction, there's getting a mount. I mean, it was a culmination of, one, I felt like it was a useful video, but two, it also made me realize, man, there's actually quite a lot of content in the game, and it ended up being a really long video as well, but yeah, I think that's probably one of my favorites that I've ever recorded over the years.
Now, let's hear from DukeSloth.
My favorite video is, I think, a hard one to decide on because I think many of my videos follow a somewhat similar structure and formula, and I generally am pretty proud of that. But if I had to pick just one, I think my ultimate greatsword guide would be the one, because I think it is kind of encompassing a lot of the things that I generally like about my own videos. I love the thumbnail for that one. I love the structure of it. I went very, very in depth. I found out a lot of tiny details because I really loved the greatsword from the start, and I wanted to share that as much as possible. So there were many tips and tricks that weren't really known at the time, condensed into this 15-16 minute video, and also some more known mechanics along with that, so that beginner players could also find their way into this weapon and I thought that the Greatsword would end up being in a really, really cool and interesting place in terms of combat because of all the mechanics that it had. And then unfortunately, that was kind of later overshadowed with Serenity, which pushed it very heavily into this heavy attack only type playstyle, or almost basically. But compared to that, I thought the potential that was on the Greatsword and the potential that I saw at the time in that video was a lot bigger than that, and I thought that was really exciting. And I think we almost got to see that again with the recent changes to Grace as a more ability-focused artifact for the Greatsword, but unfortunately, we won't really see too much of that now.
Next, we'll be hearing from Rozi.
Then I want to talk about my favorite video that I made about New World, which is definitely my streams. I never really made a specific video for YouTube besides build videos, but those weren't really my favorites. But I would have to say my streams when I played Arena. I'm a super competitive player, so I just loved spamming arenas. They were nice and short, you were constantly in combat. I loved arenas. Also the furniture pieces that I got. I also think that I'm one of the people that have the most arena trophies. My whole wall is filled, you can see it right here. And my favorite moments was one actually from a couple weeks ago in Season 10. I consciously made a decision to have really clean aim. I didn't snap or flick my aim. And I just wanted to lead my shots, and I did, and I posted this clip on TikTok and YouTube Shorts, and there were people that accused me of cheating, and that's pretty funny, so I take that as a compliment. Yeah, I'm definitely going to miss the arenas in the future when the game is actually gone. I hope the game will be live for many more years so I can jump into arena when I feel like it. But yeah, Noob, thank you for asking me to do this. I wish you good luck with your future, and I will definitely keep following your channel. And yeah, thank you for asking me. Take care, everyone.
After that, let's hear from Mecrow.
What my favorite video of all time was? This is like an extreme nerd answer, but that's just kind of me. To me, by far, is the video I did on how good Featherweight is. And I was like, there's basically no way to, like, you never want to run any other artifact, because even in the best case in terms of damage mitigation for any other artifact, Featherweight's still better. And that was like the biggest, like, kind of like, oh my gosh, I think I actually understand this game moment, where it was like, you just kind of like all the pieces get put together, like you have like the number scene of like, you're just like the classic number, like gal thinking like Jeff, this was like really funny, and it was just like, wait, I get this now. Featherweight's is always better, and like here's how the math comes together. And then like on a similar note, there's also like other ones where it was like lower gear score meant you were tankier. It's actually true in the current game still today, where lower gear score at a certain point makes you tankier than higher gear score. But I didn't really want to break the game towards the end, so maybe someone will figure that out now. But it's just like all these like little math things, these little data things that like no one really thinks about, and then like as you deep dive into it, then it gets like really, really interesting. There's just like so many unique mechanics to this game, and it was really cool to like understand how they worked and how to leverage them to have more success, if you will. But a lot of high points though. There's a lot of videos to choose from, but I'd say just overall, those are my high points for the game, and hope that somebody takes over it so we can continue to have more, or if not, then people will find some new high points on their next games.
Now, we'll be hearing from JayOddity.
I remember, I think when Umbral Shards got added to the game the first time, I was one of the first people, at least, to break the news, not necessarily the first person to discover it, although I did actually discover it on my own. I was one of the first people to identify that not all gear slots were created equal. Some of them counted for more of your gear score than others. In particular, don't ask me the amounts now, I don't remember it, but your weapons were very, very relevant. I think they were like 45% of your total gear score. And the video obviously was like, hey, if you're going to spend your Umbral Crystals, Umbral Shards, then make sure you do it on your weapons first. Now, that's not advice for now. That was literally, I mean, probably a couple of months after the game came out, actually. But that was the first time I sort of realized that, oh, I could actually find stuff myself, discover stuff as we go, and I really enjoyed that. I also really enjoyed my last video on the New World Odyssey channel, where I basically like deliberately pulled at the heartstrings a little bit, with the end music being one of my favorite pieces from New World, which is Homeward Bound. Sort of fitting, not really, maybe. And thanks to you, New World, for all your content and helping all the people as they've gone on with their journey into Aeternum. So thank you, goodbye, good day.
Next up is Goddess009.
My favorite video that I created about New World Aeternum would have to be the video of my company members doing a javelin throw contest. A javelin throw contest is pretty much where you have two groups of 3 to 4 players standing on 2 different pillars, and your whole goal is pretty much trying to knock the other team off before they knock all of you guys off, and whoever gets knocked off first loses. The reason I made this video was because I wanted to show other New World players that with a good community, you can make your own content. You didn't need New World to do that for you.
After that, we'll be hearing from Savvvo Games.
I just checked, and it looks like I've made over 250 New World videos on my YouTube, which is honestly insane. And just like my favorite memory, this one's very, very hard to choose from, but I'll probably choose one of the ones that were probably the most brutal ones to make, and that was my video guide on the locations of all of the 26 ancient glyphs. So that one was honestly dreadful to make. I remember I almost didn't even post it because like someone else was able to create a video and publish it like an hour before I planned to hit that publish button. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna publish it anyways, maybe it'll help a few people. And after 3 years now, I can see that it was literally published 3 years ago. I've just been consistently getting comments about people saying, hey, just made it to Brimstone Sands, thanks so much, able to get this ancient glyph. People just helping out each other in the comments because some things changed with the MSQ changes. It was just nice seeing that, like, even though that video is now 3 years old, people are still like jumping in and playing, and once they make it to Brimstone Sands, it's cool seeing that, hey, there's new players still jumping in here and there. And I'm definitely gonna miss seeing that moving forward with the recent news around New World.
Now, let's hear from DannehTV.
My most favorite video that I ever made of New World, we did lots of kind of like update videos and funny ones, but there was one that I made called This Is My New World, and it was kind of like, or it is like a PvP video, like a music video, where it shows all of the guys that I met and the crew and all the friends that we made basically just fighting and having a good time, and it's kind of like a highlights reel of all the good times basically. And that would probably be one of my, I made a couple of these kind of music type highlight reels, and they were just really good fun, to be honest, and those are the ones that kind of evoke the memories that we all had playing the game for so long and so many hours. It's just it's the people again with these videos that make you feel something. It's because of the people. The game had its ups with many downs, but yeah, what shines through all of this is the people. And I think my first New World video was 6 years ago ish, roughly 6 years ago. This particular one was nearly 4 years ago, and I can still see people in these videos that I play with and speak to regularly these days. And yeah, I guess what's also sad about the drop of New World is yeah, we were really planning a big kind of comeback with the guild and the community, and having a big trip down memory lane. So it kind of this one hurts, and yeah, it's a sad time for the MMORPG community and everybody who loves MMOs. So yeah, it's gonna be missed.
Next up, we've got Nyce Gaming.
I think my most fond memory and video was over 2 years ago in my Serenity build video for Season 3. I had a lot of outnumbered 1vx PvP, but in the opening clip specifically, I had a clip from an arena with my buddy and a random, and they both died, and it was 1v3. and my buddy was hyping me up to finish it, and I somehow managed to pull off the 1v3. And there's moments like that that I'm just going to miss, and things like that is really what I'll miss about New World. There was times like during the PvP server where everyone was flagged and 2 guys were chasing me open world, and then I used the actual proximity, the VoIP, to call someone over to help me, and we actually ended up pulling off the 2v2, and it was just a really good social time, you know. There weren't like sets holding your hand in this game, and the combat was very skill and knowledge based, timing your dodges for the iframe, when to block, when to not block, and using your basic attacks. And missing a skill felt detrimental because it'll go on a long cooldown. You had the only 3 active skills on that bar, and so when you missed or dodged something detrimental, like it felt like everything had impact, you know. And it feels bad knowing this huge, beautiful world and all the time that both the developers and players invested into it will soon all be for nothing, aside from the good times it brought us, of course, and the memories we made. All the amazing points of interest scattered throughout the map with the most beautiful environment out of any MMO. I'm sorry I will fight anyone over that. I know it's subjective, but man, this game was beautiful.
After that, we'll be hearing from Master VAVI.
I'm gonna say my favorite video was probably the Thanos musket build, and right after that, I gotta say more than one. I gotta say the rapier build. Why would I say the Thanos build? Because first of all, it was Ghostly Touch gloves, and I needed 6,000 doubloons, which was on the old version before Season 9. You couldn't get doubloons that easy. As you guys know, it's like 30 doubloons per chest. So the farming on that alone while streaming, it was super fun. It was torture as well. And just to get the gloves and to manage building, creating something new, because no one else was running that. In coming in with that kind of build was so special, but also the time that it took me to edit and everything. So it's definitely a video that has a special place in my heart. And obviously the musket rapier being one of the fan favorite build. So super happy with the result on that one. But I would say I love every video. But the Thanos musket build, it took me around 16 to 20 something hours of pure editing and thought process. So it was definitely a special one, for sure.
And to end things off, let's hear from ThaCousin.
As for my favorite video, that's hard to pick, but I'll go with New Meta Musket Tank. It was one of my first videos ever back in July 2023, and the first real off-meta build I created. I've been playing bow and rapier for wars, always tryharding, but that build marked a change. It used javelin, traps, musket, and spear. Super hard to play, but insanely rewarding once mastered. It could beat melee and ranged players alike, even in 1 versus X fights. That build wasn't just strong, it was the start of something new for me, as both a New World player and a creator. It proved that off-meta builds can be just as powerful, maybe even more, if you've got the patience and creativity to make them work. But to be fair, I had like 8 years of off-meta cooking in Path of Exile 1. That probably helped me. Honorable mentions. I think the video Windchill plus Hammer off meta is my meta, and 100% win rate video are in my top 2. 100% win rate is because it's guaranteed fun with friends.
It's been a pleasure hearing all of your favorite memories of Aeternum. We've truly had some special moments in this game. I know there's still time to play New World, and you may even see some of these creators on Aeternum from time to time, but as a lot of players are moving on from the game, I figured this would be a good time to look back and remember what once was. But let me know in the comments below what your favorite memory is of your time on Aeternum. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like and subscribe to the channel. But until next time, have a good one. Thanks for watching another video, and a massive shout out to all the channel members and patrons seen on screen now. Links on how to become one in the video description. If you'd like to see my farewell montage of all my favorite New World cinematics, click on the video to the left. Or, if you'd like to see me walking through my favorite spots in Aeternum, click on the video to the right.